Hey friends, it's Sunday. Yesterday I did a stream and I got a reaction to the stream about Xamarin Forms and Maui and some claims I made in the description and stuff like that. And I thought it would be a good thing to just respond to this because, feedback is cool and I appreciate this. And I just wanted to clear some things out. So maybe whoever did the statement is right in telling me this, or maybe I see things differently. But let's just look at the statement here. This is like the command in my stream, and I left here out who did it. You can find it out, but it's not about about the man who did it, but it's about the message. So first of all, let's go through this. And he says that I have a lot of subscribers and I should be more responsible. Where that was awakening call, because I like to be responsible. And now let's go from the bottom to the top maybe. So he claims it to be irresponsible from me and unfair to say that Xamarin is a dying ecosystem when you don't know how to use it. Okay, that's a bold statement. Please learn it, okay? Before say something doesn't work at all. I have to claim that he says, or I have to mention that he says that he is an experienced Xamarin developer. And now, first of all, what I think what I said was that Xamarin Forms is kind of dying out, not Xamarin itself. You have to know that Xamarin historically was a company and not a technology. And now Microsoft bought Xamarin and took over the complete technology stack, which was a good thing. And I don't dislike Xamarin, okay, to be just clear about this. Now we have 2022. And by the way, you feel free to comment, to put your opinion here in the chat, so maybe we can discuss this. And I don't know if maybe the writer of the comment is here in the chat, so maybe we can talk it over. Let's see. So the thing why I mentioned that I think that we are in the middle of a dying thing which is called Xamarin Forms and a new thing which is called .NET MAUI is coming out of some experiences with Microsoft as a company and how they handle things. First of all, and it's 20 plus years I have now with this company. And I saw this happening a lot, what's happening now with Xamarin Forms and MAUI. And second of all, it's just a little bit fact-based. And I'm trying to go through with you with this statement that I think that not Xamarin, okay, to be clear, but Xamarin Forms is something which is dying out as a technology. So let's take a look what I mean. First of all, I would like to reference a picture from a guy. It's a German guy, and he's known to be like a Microsoft insider. That's why I have his claim here at the top. Okay, so he is trying to show us what one.NET is. So you have to say with the upcoming of .NET 6 since last year, this is a new strategy regarding the development stack of Microsoft. So what is interesting about this is that the one.NET SDK and the base class library and stuff like that will have several components sitting on top of it. So as you can see here are two components, which is MAUI and Blazor Desktop and .NET iOS and Android Xamarin. So if you read this, it seems like those are single components. Okay, and again, this is opinionated too. This is the guy showing us his interpretation of all these things, more or less. So here is why I think the user who did the comment said Xamarin is not dying. And he's right, it's not dying. But I claim that the Xamarin Forms thing is dying. So how can I say this? So let's take a quick look at what we saw yesterday. This is kind of the project structure of yesterday. And now let me show you kind of a similar project in .NET MAUI, which I can show you now in Visual Studio Code, for instance. It's kind of looking differently, okay? But it doesn't matter, it's about some facts here. So let us follow the breadcrumbs. When I say I don't believe in Xamarin Forms that much. So when we look here in the namespaces which are provided here. You see here the namespace which is saying XAML and MAUI, and now we go over to our stuff into the views. Let's say here, and then we should see when it's coming up here the same, and then we see a lot of controls, and this didn't change that much. So now let's take a look at some other parts, like for instance, where was it? Was it assembly info? Yeah, you see using xamarin.forms.xaml. Let's hit over here to some classes. And what you can see now is that Microsoft, this is not the same, but namespace with MAUI, which is the same in result. Okay, you get a multi-platform mobile app. In this case, targeting iOS and Android too, like you can see here, Android and iOS. But first of all, they changed the complete project structure of this and they simplified it. And then they renamed certain very important stuff here and calling it MAUI now. So this, I don't even know if there is a using statement which is calling Xamarin Forms, I don't know. Or Xamarin as using in the complete thing here as a namespace. No, there's nothing. So what I mean by Xamarin Forms is dying out, that the complete technology stack and all the references coming in and the NuGet packages and whatever is now starting to be renamed to a new technology which is called MAUI. Okay, so this is the stack of Microsoft, obviously. That's my current interpretation. Obviously, for the future of UI development under Windows and targeting any platform, which means WebAssembly is there under MAUI and stuff like that. Everything should be under the hood, but it's not there yet. So MAUI did not arrive. We have the Studio 2022 platform preview version on Windows, which as far as I know, is the only possible way to develop the MAUI app currently, and you cannot deploy them, as far as I know, to the source. There's no way to deploy them. It's just a preview. So you can develop currently on the MAUI stack full-blown for targeting iOS or any other mobile platform. On the other hand, why did I say Xamarin Forms is dying out? Well, I have reasons. For instance, just one thing. If you take a look at Visual Studio 2022, and it's out as a preview since several months. Now, I'm looking at this and I think, how am I supposed to implement a clean solution on this Visual Studio 2022? So if you look in the internet, one thing is pretty obvious. Let me show you. There is a famous, for instance, library for using it as an MVVM pattern and dependency injection and all the stuff I talked yesterday when it comes to all this, the stuff which is called Prism, for instance. So Prism, if you look here, get started with Prism, is a library which is, I think it's basically maintained by Microsoft itself. Let me go to dark mode. Sorry guys, I always forget this. So Prism. And what Prism is all about is bringing in all the technology and the wiring up you need to have dependency injection, view model locators, all the commands, stuff you need in MVVM. Okay, cool. So until Visual Studio 2019, there was a project template which you could download from the store, kind of like a Prism integration thing. And we have to point out that this is maintained pretty good. So Prism library. Now, if you take a look now in Visual Studio 2022 extensions and you search here online for Prism, you recognize, and there is something for 2019, you have to know, you recognize that there is nothing. So either one possibility is that the complete contribution team of Prism is not interested or was not interested in bringing this to Visual Studio 2022, or it is not so important to have it in 2022, or they are already preparing for the new stuff and working on other stuff, which I prefer to believe. Okay, that's just my opinion. Second thing, I know that Microsoft is not, full of development capacities, like they don't know how many people to bring into employment. So if they are working currently on a completely new stack of UI libraries, UI frameworks and stuff like that, I believe heavily from my experiences that they don't have the time to invest in older technologies like Xamarin Forms. So what I want to tell you here is, I don't know if it's dying. In this channel, in this YouTube channel, I'm telling you what I think, okay? This is opinionated heavily because I have to be careful when I talk to people on my job, and I'm consulting people and stuff like that on not Xamarin Forms, but on Azure and stuff like that. And I'm very careful, and I call Microsoft and I ask people, is this true? Is this not true? But this is my YouTube channel, okay? And what I want to say with this is, he is totally right, basically. So he's not totally, he's right in kind of way. So what I want to say here at this point now is, yes, this is just my opinion, okay? That's not an official fact, but I thought that this should be clear if you go to YouTube, to a guy's channel who just talks about it and does a live session at 8:30 p.m. It should be clear to everybody that this is not a source of knowledge you can rely on and say, well, but this guy said it and now it should die. Okay? That should be clear. Another point now. So I don't know if it's unfair. Maybe it is irresponsible, but that kind of questions the whole YouTube thing to me, because, I'm looking at a lot of guys which are pretty important on YouTube with a big reachability, and if this is true, they are irresponsible in kind of way, no matter how many subscribers they have. So let me skip over real quick about what is going here, but actually not skip over, but I don't understand this thing, and I think it's kind of unfair too to what he's telling here. So yes, I did some silly things maybe, and I do it all the time, especially when I have live sessions going on. It's full of silly mistakes. I think it's not a good point to, rub this in to anybody that he had made silly mistakes. And I'm not sure if I mixed WPF and or solutions for WPF with things on Xamarin. I think Microsoft did a poor job in the past on separating those things. Let me explain technically. I thought about this a lot, as you can see. So I struggled yesterday with some things, like for instance, with this thingy. You have this XAML, okay? And especially this guy troubled me, because you have to implement this one, you have to implement that one, so this namespace. So let's talk about this. What is going on? This here is, as it tells you, a namespace which points to expression blend. Let me say that this comes out of an area here, expression blend, where WPF was the thing. It was made actually for WPF and not for something like Xamarin. So it's not me mixing things. It's Microsoft not separating things from each other, which should be separate. Nobody cares about this thing. And still you need it to make a data source, which is a pretty common thing. I don't get the point where, the silliness lies when I'm mixing and I'm confused by binding things. And I'm sure a lot of people are confused when this is already mixed up by Microsoft itself. So kind of not buying this. So I'm not searching for WPF solutions. I'm searching for solutions which work in WPF too. And that's what I made. And yes, I was pretty good at WPF, pretty good. I don't know. It's a bold say. I was used to do a lot of stuff in WPF like him. And so I go back to mama when it gets thin, that's why. But anyway, I didn't try to apply WPF to Xamarin, I think. It just seemed to. So it is more than obvious that I don't know about the framework. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is more than obvious, because, I have things there in the wild, apps right now, And they work, I know how to make it work. And I kind of circumvented here some quirks of the basic template. And let me state out another thing. Maybe this was confusing yesterday, 2.5 hours of me clicking around here. But to be honest, let's do it one more time quickly. Okay, what I did yesterday, I found a new project, Xamarin Forms with it. This is the official template of Microsoft. Okay, that's nothing I came up with. And now let's go here and create just an app 4, I don't care, and do a tabbed one again, create this. And now let's talk, seriously. Let's talk about, is this meant serious to be something going out to production? I don't know. This is like several years old. And I several times yesterday I said I hate it. And you know what I hate? I don't hate Microsoft or the technology itself. I hate how it's made. Okay, it's complete without love, in my opinion. And you have to do a lot of stuff to make it work. And you should have seen yesterday that I got rid of a bunch of code behind, which Microsoft does not get tired of stating, don't use code behind. A lot of people from Microsoft do not do it. It's not MVVM. You have to separate everything. And I did this yesterday. Why do I have to do this? If Xamarin is out there for several years now, Xamarin Forms, why is this template so without love? Why is this living there? Because this is an entry point for people. So to round this up, first of all, this might sound like I don't like the guy who wrote this. The opposite is true. I love that he did it. Okay. I appreciate that, really. I appreciate, because this gives me the opportunity to rethink how I communicate, and I should rethink this, and I will edit the description of the video as he mentions here, because he's kind of not mad, but he kind of points out that the description itself is not stating out that this is just my opinion. He's right. He's completely right. I disagree on this point, kind of. And maybe on this irresponsible, I don't know, man. Irresponsible? I don't know. People make up their minds watching YouTube videos, okay? Let us keep the emotions down here a little bit. So, and to say that it's a dying ecosystem, which is the main point which he's up to here, I think it's okay to say this. And it's not because I don't know how to use it. I think I kind of figured it out, okay? It's not that heavy. It is a dying ecosystem in terms of Xamarin Forms, which I think is dying. Xamarin is there, but I think the name will disappear simply because it was the name of a company Microsoft bought. So what do you think will happen to this name? I don't know, man. I think it will go away and there will be something like Maui, and that's it. But anyway, just my opinion. As I wanted to state out, I will edit some descriptions. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about my reaction to this. Is this overreacting? Or is this appropriate, and is it helpful to you guys that I react? Because I didn't want to just write a comment, which in any way nobody reads, a response to this comment, and I want to take this serious, okay? Because I really appreciate it. And if you have critics, go ahead and do it. And to the guy who did the comment here, I really respect you, man. And if you, because I saw that you have some YouTube videos out there too, so you are doing for the community, I appreciate that. Hey, let me know, what do you think now? And hey, let's stay in contact. If you have different things, maybe we can have a discussion. Just a shout out. Let's see. Okay, guys. Looking forward to your responses. I will edit all the stuff, link the video. Let's see how I make it. And just wanted to say that. Have a nice Sunday and see you.